All right, we are live on YouTube and also simulcasting live on Facebook. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join me here today. I have a great show planned for you folks here today. This is a very important show, especially for men, but women can learn from this as well. Even when you cater specific topics to men specifically, that's a better way to put it, or to women specifically, the opposite sex can always learn from that. So, if you feel that I'm more so catering my content to one of the genders at times, that doesn't mean I'm trying to leave you out, and that also doesn't mean that you can't learn from it. You absolutely can learn from it. And today's topic regarding men and how they process breakups is going to be crucial. So you're going to want to stick around for that. But before we get to all that, let me first of all make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out, and it absolutely has gone out. Let me also check out the back end of YouTube and make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. And it absolutely is. The Queen is here and you're good. Hey, welcome, Queen. Welcome to the show. Glad you could be here today. And the back end of Facebook is rolling smoothly, but let's just make sure that it's running on the front end. Oh, yeah. I feel really good today, folks. But let's just make sure that it's running on the front end. And it is, Coach Eli. It is. You're watching yourself. You enjoy watching yourself, Coach Eli? Yes, I do. I'm not afraid to watch myself because when I watch myself, especially on the replays of these live streams, I learn how to better my delivery. And you folks can learn from that as well. Even if you're an experienced public speaker such as myself, you can always better yourself. You're never going to be perfect. No one is perfect, folks. You could always learn from watching yourself. If you're a YouTuber and you struggle doing live streams, you should watch your replays and look at yourself and listen to yourself. And if you don't like how it's coming off, figure out a way to better the delivery the next time. And the more and more you do it, the more comfortable you will get, and you will be unnatural. Not trying to say I'm all that, but I feel I'm a natural like this. This is what I was born to do. That's why it's my purpose. That's why I do it. All right. So everything is rolling smoothly here today. Hopefully the YouTube live streaming server will comply and not cut me off. But anyway, one more piece of business before we get to the topic here. I'm sponsored by my great longtime friend, Troy Brewer, of over 10 years. He's been running an amazing marketing company for over 15 years called the Discover Community Network. He is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network, and he is a branding and marketing expert. I trust no one more than Troy Brewer and the Discover Community Network when it comes to branding and marketing. They know what they're doing. They know how to get your message out there and properly represent your brand, and they're very reasonably priced. Now, they do have some higher end packages like everyone does, but Troy has a package that'll suit everyone's budget. So if you'd like more information on how to connect with Troy, go below the description about a third of the way down the YouTube side of things and click on the top link, discovercommunitynetwork.com. If you're on Facebook, go to the top at the search bar and type in discovercommunitynetwork.com, and that will redirect you over to their Facebook business page. From there, you can find out how to connect with him by phone or email, same by going to the website. Or if you would like for me to personally introduce you to Troy by email, and then possibly even get on a three-way phone consultation with you, Troy, and myself, that can happen. Whatever you want, we're here to help you with. As long as you're a good person and you're not playing games, we have a zero tolerance policy for games. But if you're a genuine person looking to better your brand and your message, or if you are in need of some great products and services, personal and professional products and services, Troy has a bunch of those that people need. You can find out more about that by going to discovercommunitynetwork.com. Once again, Troy, thank you very much for your continued sponsorship and patronage of my brand, my business, my YouTube channel, my Facebook simulcast, and anywhere else I put out my content. Lots of love from Coach Eli and the Coach Eli clan. All right. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm going to be discussing a topic that is very, very near and dear to my heart as a man, because obviously I am a man. And I've personally experienced this quite a few times in my life. And if you're a man just like, I can't even talk. If you're a man just like me, that's what I'm trying to say. That's another thing when you're doing public speaking, especially if you're live. If you screw up, just laugh at yourself. Say, oh gosh, I can't get the words out of my mouth. And then just keep moving forward, right? Maybe I'll do a stream or a video down the road on public speaking. I did one on my former channel, but I want to do an updated version. So if you're a man just like me and you just love women, you want to share your life with a woman, you enjoy romance with a woman, intimacy with a woman, you enjoy her company. If you believe in relationships, okay, you put yourself out there and, you've experienced what it's like to be in a relationship, and you've more than likely experienced what it's like to go through a breakup as a man. And the first time you go through it is unlike anything you're ever going to experience in your life. It almost feels like, you don't want to move on and the world has ended, right? It's like the most horrendous feeling that a guy will go through. Seriously. I went through it in high school with my high school sweetheart. I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with my high school sweetheart. I thought we were going to get married, have kids, live happily ever after. And that's not what happened. She ended up breaking up with me several years after we, started dating. And it was my first relationship, so I wasn't experienced. And I did a lot for her. I did way too much for her. Things I did for her back then, I wouldn't even think about doing today. There was even a point in time, I'm going to share this story. And yes, this is extreme simping, for those of you that know what that means. This is putting the woman on a pedestal, which is what I'm trying to say to the extreme. I used to buy her flowers all the time. And there was a time where I purchased flowers for her, like 18 extra long stem red roses, and had them delivered to her place, her parents' place, obviously. At that time, we were teenagers, right? And I delivered 18 extra long stem red roses to her place for 5 days in a row. And I was thinking that, wow, that's going to make me stand out. And that's going to keep me forever in her heart. And she's going to love me even more for doing that, right? Well, during that week, because I was working at the movie theater back then, I had saved a bunch of money before I started dating her. And that's how I was able to afford all this. Throughout that week, Monday through Friday, I sent the flowers. And then when I went to go pick her up on Friday night to go on a date and spend time with her on the weekend, her house looked like a garden, and her mother and her father were looking at me funny. They weren't upset. They were just like, whoa, And her mother even said, "You've turned our house into a garden here." And all I said was, I just wanted to do something really, really nice. Well, that's very, very nice of you. Very nice of you, right? And I guess they were trying to give me the hint that it's a little bit too much. I didn't realize it was a little bit too much. It was my first relationship. I was dating a cheerleader. She was very beautiful. And, we got along really well, and I was just in goo goo gaga land. I mean, that happens, right? Okay. But what ended up happening a few years after we graduated high school, and we were still together, and what ended up happening was she broke it off with me. But I will respect her on how she broke it off with me. She met me at her local park and told me in person. I'll never forget it. She told me right to my face, looked me in the eyes, and said that, we're not going to see each other anymore. And, I said, why? I thought what we had was great. And she said, yes, what we have is great, but I want to go experience other experiences in college. And when I heard that, it just broke my heart. It just broke my heart. Now, let's fast forward. How long ago was this? Oh gosh, 25 years ago or so, something like that. Fast forward 25 years ago, and today, that's known as hypergamy. I learned that term from being a part of the MGTOW community, which stands for Men Going Their Own Way. There's this term. It's an actual word. It's called hypergamy. And when I first started hearing it years ago, I learned that hypergamy means that women are always looking to seek up. Basically, they're trying to find the best man possible. The man that they're most physically attracted to, the man that makes the most money, the tallest man, 6 feet plus taller, 6-pack, 6 inches or larger below the waist. And so, I understand what that means today, but being a teenager and entering my early 20s at that time when I went through that breakup, I had no idea why she was doing what she was doing. But now I clearly understand it, right? And I also realized that I overdid it. I did way too much for her. I put her on a pedestal. I sucked up to her. And I didn't do that intentionally. I was just so enamored by not only her beauty, but her personality. She was very sweet. Her parents were very good to me. My parents were very good to her. It was like a family. I kind of felt like at a young age that I was like practically almost married. And ever since I was a little kid, I always dreamed of having a family. Welcome. Lewis Fuller says, good afternoon, Eli, on the YouTube side of things, and everyone in the stream. Welcome, Lewis. Let me check out Facebook real quick and see if anything's going on over there. I will be periodically checking in on Facebook. Nothing happening on Facebook. Specialized Cycling Club's in the house. 810. How you doing, bro? Coach, when this happens to me, I simply call the, we're just going to call it women, so we're nice to the YouTube algorithm, in different area codes. Trade them in for the younger, hotter model. They are in abundance like water, brother. And I understand that, bro. Listen, 810, Specialized Cycling Club. It is much easier to get a hookup with a woman in the modern world. It's quite easy. For anyone that has any type of game or social skills, and I don't even like to call it game, but social skills, and you're confident and you're just cool, right? It's simple to get that. But if you're a guy like me that wants the complete package, wants the emotional bond, and needs to have the emotional bond before, intimacy is enjoyable, that just doesn't work for me. But I understand that may work for you, or maybe you're just going to continue hooking up with women and maybe one of them will pan out and turn into a relationship. I've seen people that were friends with benefits end up falling in love and getting married and having a family. It is a possibility. And for a lot of people nowadays, they start off as friends with benefits or with a hookup not because they don't want something real, because they feel it puts less pressure on both sides. If you look at it that way, I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Queen Helen K says, hello, Lewis. Lewis says, hi. Hello, Cycling says, Queen. And Lewis says, hi, Queen. So when my ex broke it off with me, I was very, very hurt. I became anti-woman. There was no worse feeling I had ever felt in my life, even to this day. I'll never forget it. My heart sunk, especially after everything I did, which I now know I did way too much. But I was younger back then, hadn't learned all this stuff yet, hadn't been red-pilled yet, like we call it nowadays, right? And so for the next year, I just didn't really want to hang out with friends. I didn't want to do anything. I just worked, and I would work, and I would hang out with some of the guys from work. And when I became of age, 21, I would go to the bars with them. We'd have some drinks, and we would shoot the shit, right? And I would try to talk with these guys, about this, but they didn't really want to hear it, right? And one of the main reasons why I stopped hanging out with my friends for a little bit during that time is because initially I did try to talk with my guy friends about how I was feeling, but they didn't really want to hear it. They're like, dude, be a man. You did way too much for her. You ditched us while you were with her. You hear all that stuff, and it's not helping your cause, right? You're in an emotional state unlike anything you've ever felt before as a man, right? And you're looking for support. That's when you need the most support from your guy friends and other people in general, right? But when you need the most support, they don't give it to you. Guys don't give it to you. That's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that men do not support men in the same ways that women support women in a similar situation. And that's a problem. But let's talk about women for a second. When women go through a breakup, what do? They reach out to other women in that group. If a woman goes through a breakup, she reaches out to her group of friends. Back in the days, they would talk on the phone or hang out in person. Nowadays, they'll text or group text, and then maybe they'll do a video chat, or maybe they'll even get together in person or do a phone call, right? But how do women handle these things? They support each other, and they consistently support each other, and the support never stops. Women will sit there and listen to a woman, shed her emotions regarding a breakup, not only for hours that first day, but for the entire week, month, or even for however long it takes, right? Additionally, if you go back to your grammar school days, do you guys remember when you would go have these, where you would attend these birthday party events, right? You go to a Chuck E. Cheese or something, right? And when guys would go to the restroom, we go to the restroom on our own. We have, urinals that stand up where we don't have to sit down, and we just, do our thing, right? If another guy pops on in to the left or right urinal and starts to do his thing while you're there doing your thing, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing, right? It's just simple, right? But guys go to the bathroom on their own. Women go to the bathroom in pairs or in groups, right? They hold hands and they walk into the restroom together, right? Why do they do that? Because that's their sanctuary. They go in there because they feel safe to discuss personal things regarding their life, maybe, guys that they've been talking with or dealing with, things regarding guys, right? And they'll stay in there longer than the time it takes to, do their thing, right? And they're very supportive and very uplifting of each other, right? Quite frankly, as weird as you guys may think that is, that's actually very, very healthy. They're communicating, they're supporting each other, they're helping that woman that just went through a breakup, they're helping her work through it. The problem with men is that we don't support each other in that way. And I'll share why I feel we don't support each other in that way in a second. Specialized Cycling Club says, hi all, listening in. Lewis says, please, thumbs up the live stream. Thank you, Lewis. I appreciate that. Appreciate it, bro. So why don't men support each other the same way that women support each other? Why? Because back in the days, we were taught that, being a man is being strong, and that includes being emotionally strong. And if you go through something like a breakup or something traumatic happens, we're supposed to contain our emotions, right? So when a guy goes through something like me and it shot my emotions as a man through the roof and I needed support, when I tried to get that support, these guys wouldn't support me for that reason, right? And when I would try to get their support, they would say, come on, dude, be a man about it. Be a man about it. You're being a sissy. You're this and that, right? But are you really being a sissy at that point? Or are you just going through something that every man and woman goes through, right? And just because you're a man, does that mean that you're not allowed to shed emotions when you go through something like that, right? Both men and women have emotions, right? Both men and women have emotions, and when we go through things, similar things that affect our emotions, we're both going to have an emotional response, at least deep within, and then we're going to act upon it in a certain way. Women more so are going to be more active on their emotions because, like I've always said, women are emotional beings. Women respond to everything emotionally first based on how they're feeling in the present moment. And then afterwards, they reason with logic. Men, a typical normal man, is going to respond to everything logically first and then shed some emotion, right? But even as a man, if you look at a breakup logically, and you're younger, like I was when I went through my first breakup during my high school years and shortly afterwards, right? Even if you're a man and you try to process your breakup logically, you don't have enough experience to logically process it as you do when you get to my current age of 47, right? Because if I knew back then what I know now, I would have, first of all, done things differently, and I would have handled the breakup differently, right? And I'm going to share with you in a little bit how I've handled my breakups, since that time, right? Or at least over the last 5 to 10 years, right? But there's nothing wrong for a man to show emotion, raw emotion at times, as long as he doesn't overdo it. And let me explain this to you once again. It's pretty cut and dry. Like I said, women are emotional beings. They respond to everything emotionally based on how they're feeling in the present moment. Women every day, you can look at it this way, with no disrespect, ladies. I'm just saying this is the way the good Lord made you to be biologically. Women are like the number 8. They're in a constant loop of emotion all day, every day, right? Like the number 8, right? You like how good that looks at 1080p at 60 frames per second, nice and smooth, right? Okay. That's normal for a woman. That's how women were biologically made to be. But for men, we weren't built that way. We were built as logical creatures first, and then if we shed a little emotion, we shed emotion, right? So as a man, if you go through a breakup, nothing wrong with you shedding a tear or two every now and then. Nothing wrong with you expressing yourself emotionally. Nothing wrong with you feeling emotions because we all have emotions, whether we're men or women. It's just men and women process emotions differently, right? Now, if you're a man that is forcing yourself to not show emotion after a breakup when you actually feel it, you're suppressing your emotions, right? You're holding it in. And this is what happens when you do that. What happens when you suppress your emotions? Because because you fear being called a sissy man, right? Or a feminized man, right? It starts to build up deep within. Kind of like a volcano before it's about to erupt. It builds, the pressure builds up, and when it can't withstand the pressure anymore, the volcano, boom, it erupts, right? You as a man, if you contain your emotions during a time like that, where it is absolutely healthy to show some emotion and let it out and talk about it to release the pain, you're going to hold in the pain, and eventually you're going to explode. And you're probably going to explode during the wrong time. Maybe you're at work. You go through a breakup, right? You're holding in the pain, right? Because you don't want to come off as weak, right? Thinking that it would be weak to shed some emotion. And then somebody, one of your bosses, says something that triggers, your emotions that have nothing to do with your conversation, but because you're already in that state of, not feeling good about your breakup and the pressure is building up because you haven't released the emotion, you might explode on your boss. And what happens when you do that? You may lose your job, or if you even do something more stupid, you may go to jail, right? So as a man, it is perfectly healthy and normal to cry every now and then, to, share your emotions with your guy friends, with your family. If you're dating a woman, perfectly normal to share your emotions. Okay? But if you are emotional all day, every day, that's when guys start to say, oh, you're acting like a woman. Have you ever heard the phrase, you're acting like a woman, right? This is with no disrespect to women. Nowadays, these empowered women say, well, when you call these guys, feminized men and you're acting like a woman, are you saying that it's bad to act like a woman? No, it's not bad to act like a woman if you're a woman. That's how you're supposed to be. But if a man acts the same way as you do, he's not behaving normally for a man. And the reason why guys will say that a man is acting like a woman is because we want to trigger him. We want to trigger him and we want to make him mad to the point of where he lets out all of that emotion, right? It's not trying to trigger the guy, to just laugh at him. That's our way that we support men when they're doing that, right? If they're overly emotional, it's just as bad as not showing any emotion at all, right? So there's nothing wrong with a man showing emotion at times, especially in these situations of a breakup, right? But if you're a man that doesn't show any emotion, that's bad, right? That's bad. Not showing any emotion is just as bad as showing emotion all day, every day, or being emotional all day, every day. A good, well-balanced man is going to understand that, hey, not everything's always going to pan out. No matter how hard we try, no matter how good of a person we are, and we attempt to do things legitimately, sometimes it's not going to go our way, right? And it's going to make us feel a little bit down inside, right? Nothing wrong with expressing that to your friends, your family, or if you're dating someone and something happens within the relationship or within your business or your work or whatever, and you're feeling a little bit down, there's nothing wrong with going to your lady and saying, look, babe, can I talk with you? I hate to trouble you with this, but I love you so much, and I'm going through something at work, and I'm not that happy, and it's really just taking a toll on me, right? Nothing wrong with you going to your lady and saying that and sharing that with her, right? Because let's say something happens and you lose your job after that, right? She's going to be happy that you came to her and told her how you were feeling about this and what's going on and communicating with her before you lost your job. Let's say you held it in, right? and you lost your job, and now you're trying to cover up why you lost your job and what happened to your lady's going to ask you, right? And regardless of what you say at that point, she's going to come to you and say, babe, I thought you loved me and we had a relationship. Why didn't you tell me what was going on while it was happening, right? If you're in a relationship with a woman and you're not able to communicate with her effectively and consistently, including at times opening up your emotions, okay, it's going to further set you back. It's going to further make your life difficult. It's going to take you further away from what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of men that think showing any emotion makes you less of a man, those are the men that have the biggest issues. Those are the men that are very emotionally closed off because they have unresolved issues that typically stem back to their childhood. And they don't know the right way to work through it. And those are the men that typically have issues when they get with women, because women want to bond with you emotionally. Relationships are emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental, right? Why would any man or woman want to be in a relationship if there was no emotional bond between the man and the woman, and both the man and the woman were able to emotionally connect and bond? What would be the point? Well, I guess that's why many guys have decided to just do hookups nowadays, and women too, because nowadays it's not just men that are emotionally closed off. Women are now emotionally closed off, right? And that's a problem because that's completely out of a woman's natural essence of being an emotional being and responding to everything emotionally based on how they're feeling in the present moment. Why is that happening? Women have been liberated. They're doing jobs that require them to exude more masculine energy than feminine energy. The system is telling them, you got to be strong, right? You got to be strong, right? Which I can understand that. Be strong, but still be yourself, right? That's what's happening. And I've encountered women like this nowadays. And let me tell you something. I can pretty much sense if a woman is completely emotionally open and available and aware, right? One of the biggest things that affects people from bonding, connecting, and being in a real relationship that's going to last and be sustainable is the ability to bond emotionally, and both people being emotionally open and emotionally aware. Emotional awareness is a topic that I'm going to be discussing at some point. What do you folks think about that? Because that's one of the biggest issues we're dealing with nowadays is how men and women process emotions. Maybe that's what should have been, more to the topic. But I chose this topic because when it comes to men, there's no other period that affects a man emotionally than when he goes through a breakup with a woman that he was really into and truly in love with. And that's why it takes men a lot longer to commit to women, right? That's why a lot of men fear commitment. And if they're dating a woman, they don't say, I love you right away. And they don't talk about the relationship. And as a matter of fact, you shouldn't even bring up the relationship if you're dating someone. That's the woman's job. Let her bring that up 2 to 3 months in. Okay? Now, if you're a guy and you're dating a woman for 2 or 3 months, and then she brings up that she wants to be exclusive, and you're not ready for it at that time, that means you have emotional unresolved issues. That means there's something happening deep within you emotionally that you feel you can't commit at that level. In essence, what you've been doing is having an uncommitted one-night stand with the woman every time you see her, and you just hang out with her as an activity partner, right? or friends with benefits kind of thing, right? Specialized Cycling Club says, Coach, I see so many modern women on dating sites bragging about their work accomplishments and education. They have no clue what traditional men want or find attractive. They can't even cook a meal. You're right, bro. That's because the system has indoctrinated them into being this way. Okay? And I'm glad you brought that up, Specialized Cycling Club, because that's the biggest turnoff to me. Do I want a woman to work? Yes. Do I want her to do her part, make money, support herself? That's the way things are, right? But when I'm getting to know a woman, if she focuses more than 5% of the time throughout our conversations, at least initially when we meet, right? Then I'm out. Because if they're doing that, they're more focused on their career and they're more focused on throwing their career in your face and saying, I got this. I'm a great catch. I got this, right? And that turns me off, bro. It completely turns me off. Most profiles, even on Bumble and Match, you can put what you do. Another thing that turns me off is when a woman asks what I do for a living or asks me to go into detail regarding what I do for a living within the first 2 to 5 minutes of a conversation. Because that's telling me, she's got her checklist and she's looking to see if, I qualify financially and all that. And I don't blame her for that. I can understand that to a certain extent. But at least wait 20 to 30 minutes into the conversation. At least show me some other interest before we get into that. Show me that you're fun to be around with. Show me that you're playful and flirty, right? Because if you aren't, even if we're both perfect on paper, right, none of that's going to matter, right? So if a woman can't show me her fun side first, and she starts to throw, her work and this and that, and makes it the highlight of the conversation, I'm out, bro. It's a big turnoff, right? And why is it a big turnoff for guys like you and me? Because we grew up during a different time. And we grew up during a time where women didn't work and women were homemakers and they didn't have the same equal rights that they have nowadays. And again, like I've always said, I'm glad women have equal rights. Nothing wrong with that. But the way that we were raised and the way things have always been is that, women were not working during those days. And when women were not working or working as much, or it wasn't as forced upon women as it is, like it is today, when we would talk with women and go on dates with women, they wouldn't talk about their work. They would focus on getting to know us. If we were cute and a nice guy, they wanted to go on a walk on the beach. Women used to be more focused on actually bonding and connecting with the man, which is what I still look for. Now they're focusing more energy on their career and throwing it in our face. And I'm like, no thanks. That's what's attractive about. So, okay, you work, I work. I'm not here to talk about your work right now because that doesn't matter unless you're someone I can tolerate being around and you're romantic and affectionate and sweet and kind and loyal. You got to show me who you are first as a person before you start to talk about your work. If we pass that test of being able to get along and we have romantic attraction and maybe we've met up once or twice and we've kissed, we've made out, or we've been intimate, once we become intimate, then you can tell me whatever the hell you want because now I know you're invested, right? I agree with you, 810, Specialized Cycling Club. I agree with you, man. Yeah, so nothing wrong with a man being emotional at times when it's called for. When you go through a breakup, it's actually called for. It's normal. If you don't do it, you're going to suppress those feelings and you're going to blow up at some point. And if you blow up at the wrong time, it could be at your work and you might lose your job. Okay? Let's say you get pulled over by a police officer for speeding and you blow up at that point. That may lead to more than just a speeding ticket. That may get you in jail for harassing the cop, right? Guys, listen. It is very unhealthy for anyone, male or female, to suppress their feelings or emotions. And for guys that continue to suppress their emotions, it continues to build up. And see, Specialized Cycling Club and everyone else, this is what happens when guys suppress their emotions. They become the I-5 killer. They become the Charles Mansons. They become all these crazy lunatics. Why? Because they were suppressing their emotions because they were raised to not show emotion when they're going through something emotional. Ridiculous. Preposterous. It doesn't make you any less of a man. It makes you more of a man to be able to shed some emotion when it's called for. Specialized Cycling Club says the worst age range, in my honest opinion, is mid-30s. That's because you have single women that were have been career focused, and now they're settled in. They bought their home, they bought their car, they're promoted at work, they're making six figures, and now they're trying to find a guy before the clock expires. Either that, or you have women that got married young, have 3 or 4 kids, they've gone through a divorce, and now they're looking to start over, right? Oh, yeah, the mid-30s, bro, let me tell you something. The mid-30s, yeah. I try to stay away from them, bro. I will typically date women. I'm 47. My sweet spot for dating women right now is about 40 to 46. The older women that want something serious, they don't want to be with a younger guy, even a year or two younger. You go younger than 40, you're hitting the millennials, and you're hitting the mid-30s, group. And then you're dealing with what I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Specialized Cycling Club, 30 to 36 is baby rabies zone. Yeah, I mean, you said the same thing in different words, bro. I get what you're saying, right? Now, 3 years ago, when I was, 3 years ago when I was 44, I typically will go 7 years younger is a sweet spot, up to a year younger than me. So basically, when I was 45, women that were 37 or 38 and older. And it's been interesting, the women that have been attracted to me that I ended up in relationships with. Specialized Cycling Club and everyone else. They've been about 5 to 7 years younger than me. That's like the sweet spot. That's just how it's happened. When I was with my ex Dana, I think, let's see. I think what's she 42 now? I think there was a 4 or 5 year difference. You see what I'm saying? When I was dating the veterinarian, I believe it was 40 and she was 34. So that's a 6 year difference there. It's just interesting. Give me a second here. I got to check something out. I've been talking with many women over the past I'd say 5 to 7 days between Bumble and Match. I've got probably about 5 or 6 active, decent conversations going right now. I just want to filter it down to one. I don't like talking to multiple women at once. The only reason why I do it is because they fall off very quick. The moment one of them starts to focus all their energy on me, I'm not going to tell them I'm going to focus all my energy on them, but I will. And I will play it smart. And I'm not going to overdo it. But I'm looking for a woman that's going to just completely bond and just feel it for me and I feel it for her. Because, like I've said in the past, attraction is a must, folks. It's not a choice. And women are either going to feel it from the moment they lay eyes on your picture and read your profile, and it's going to continue, or it's not going to happen at all. Right? That's just the way it goes. Now, I'm probably going to be here a little bit longer than I thought I was going to be because this first part of the show is taking longer than I expected. And I've got a lot to go over here today. I'm going to take a break here in just a few. And when I come back, I'm going to start off by reading. I have some Reddit stuff to go over. I really love Reddit because people are just raw and real. It's not, blogs or vlogs. These are people that have actual experiences and they're sharing their opinions. And I love this. I'm going to go to the Purple Pill Debate subreddit, r/Purple Pill Debate. And there's a topic that was written, too many guys here project their desperation onto all men. One more time, too many guys here project their desperation onto all men. And there's a reason why I'm reading this because, like I was saying at the beginning of this show, men do not support each other the same way women support each other, right? Why do you think women were able to become liberated? Because women have always stuck together. Women love to talk. They're emotionally open for the most part and emotionally aware, at least the ones that were raised right. The ones that aren't emotionally open or aware don't have the best upbringing. But a normal, healthy woman that's been raised, a normal, healthy woman that's been raised right is going to be emotionally open and emotionally aware and is going to love to talk about things, right? And is supportive of other women. The women that fight each other nowadays are just very unhealthy women that weren't raised right. But for guys, we don't support each other. We hang out and we talk about, oh, I'm going to bang her and this and that, right? But then when it comes time to talking about relationships or going through breakups, our guys are nowhere to be found. Or if they're around, like, dude, I don't want to talk about that, dude. Let's talk about, let's talk about the 49ers or the Giants or, the A's or whatever, right? It's all about sports, right? Which sports are cool too, but guys don't want to emotionally support each other. And I think that's horrible. I think we need to change that, especially now in this modern world. So I'm going to read this article. Too many guys here project their desperation onto all men, projecting their insecurities. Now, if you're still around a Sicily 810, aka Specialized Cycling Club, what happens, or who else can tell me, what happens in my neck of the woods here, especially on my YouTube channel, when you project, what happens? When you project, what happens? While I wait for your answers, let me cue up some royalty-free YouTube music and step away from my first break, then I'll come back and get to that Reddit posting. Okay? And I may even share a few other experiences from my last 2 relationships, primarily 2 relationships ago, where I was with a woman that cheated on me. And then I'll take another break after that, and then I'm going to come back and I have 3 other Reddit postings to go over, looking for men's opinions on breakup. Why won't some men break up with their GS despite being unhappy and know they can date other girls they openly flirt with? And then, do men actually move on from their exes after a breakup? 3 great topics. It's going to be an action-packed show where if you stick around for the whole show, if you're here live, or you watch the entire show on the replay, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something which is going to change your life. You're going to learn to become stronger, and you're going to learn to love and respect and appreciate yourself. So stick around for that. Now, Queen Helen Casey says, you get the eject. That's right. I'm going to give you a big round of applause, Queen. When you project, you get the eject. You project, you get the eject. Now, I only say that for men and some women that cross the line. I think for, to a certain extent, it's natural, normal for women to project because women are going to be naturally more insecure than men, biologically more insecure than men. But any man that comes in here, at least every man or any man that comes into my chat and projects their insecurities and attacks other people, you get the eject automatically. Automatically. That's feminine behavior. Lewis Fuller says, I am back. All right, let's cue up that royalty-free YouTube music. All right. All right, folks, music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for a very quick break. It's probably going to only be about 6 minutes or so. So stick around. We'll be right back. We're back. Woo! Yeah. Oh yeah. Feel it, feel it, feel it. Oh yeah, gotta feel good, gotta feel real good. It all starts within you and feeling good about you. There's no way you can make anyone else happy if you're not happy deep within first. You gotta love what you see in the mirror, right? Woo! I love the autofocus on this. Isn't that trippy? Woo! Yes. Move the wire out of the way, Eli. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube and also simulcasting live on Facebook. Today, we have a very crucial topic. It's one of the topics that's most nearest and dearest to my heart, and that is what men actually go through during a breakup. My experiences and more. What men actually go through during a breakup, my experiences and more. If you missed the first part of the show, go back and check out the replay because I shared some of my experiences stemming back to my high school days and, discussed emotions and how important it is for men to be able to express their emotions at times when it's necessary and called for, and how it's not good to hold emotions in, whether you're a man or a woman, because if you do, it's going to build up and eventually you're going to explode like Mount St. Helens. If you don't know what Mount St. Helens is, that's a big volcano, right? What happens when the volcano explodes? The lava flows and things just go further insane than they already are. You don't want to let it get to that point. You want to release the pressure as quickly as possible and start working through it, getting back on track, and then finding someone that's going to be a better fit for you. All right. All right. Lewis Fuller says, Eli, I just sent you an email. You did, Lewis. You sent me an actual email, Lewis? Let me see here. Give me a second, folks. I apologize. Lewis, that's nothing really too personal. You could even put that in the chat, but you sent me a professional email. That's all good. Lewis, I'm not sure if today is going to be a good day to talk. And if I am able to talk, it may only be briefly, 15, 20 minutes. And we could talk more tomorrow. I've actually got a lot on my plate for the rest of the day. I want to give you my full undivided attention. If you absolutely must talk with me, we can talk for about 15 or 20 minutes, but I'm unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you off after 15 or 20 minutes because I just have a lot to do. If not, why don't we just talk tomorrow, Lewis, in the morning around your central time. You're 2 hours ahead. We can talk around 1 p.m. Central Time, which is 11 a.m. my time. Just message me on Hangouts in the morning and we'll make it happen, brother. I appreciate you, bro. Glad you're dancing in the chat there, bro. You've got the little female dancing emojis. Why'd you choose a female, Lewis? Because you like females, right? Lewis, you like women. You love women, don't you, Lewis? Nothing wrong with that, right, bro? All right. My phone keeps going off with messages from women I've been talking with. And it's always great when they reach out to you. When they reach out to you first, that means it's their idea, and that means they're actually interested. If you have to reach out to them, it's not saying that they're not interested, but they're not just as interested. A woman that is completely interested in getting to know you and feels a high level of attraction, which is what you want and needs to be there, is going to reach out to you. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and switch over to the browser source, and let's get to this statement here made by some guy in the Purple Pill Debate subreddit on Reddit. And if I have a little time before I take my next break, I will share a couple other examples of. I probably will do that because it's important that I share how I handle things nowadays, how I handle breakups nowadays. I'll get to that. Lewis says, okay, no problem. Well, thank you, Lewis. Much love and appreciation. Thank you for being understanding, bro. All right. Too many guys here project their desperation onto all men. One more time. Too many guys here project their desperation onto all men. If I had to say one of the weakest things that any man can do is project their desperation or insecurities onto other men. I've seen that happen countless times out here on YouTube, where guys, and it's more so the younger guys in their 20s and 30s, but some guys in their 40s and 50s and above will do it. But primarily, I'm seeing guys maybe stemming to their teens. I can understand the teenage years because you're still young, but by the time guys hit their 20s and 30s, they should have some level of maturity, right? They should have learned how to handle things better by that point. But a lot of guys nowadays don't because they come from broken households. They were raised differently, right? So they'll come out here on YouTube and they will project their insecurities onto other men. And why do they do that? Because they perceive these other men to be better than them. Why else would they do it, right? Why else would they do it, right? Why would any man project their desperation or insecurities onto another man, right? Because they secretly wish they could be like that man, right? It is common for guys on here to say things. Most men will be happy to have any woman as long as she has a vagina. Nowadays, as picky as women are, you almost have to settle for any woman. Let's put it that way. But you shouldn't. That's desperation. That's devaluing yourself as a man. It is women who are the picky ones. Oh, they are. Men are picky, but women are pickier. And I think I need to do a stream on that at some point. Who's more superficial in the modern world, women or men, right? It's funny. Women say men are very superficial, and then men say women are very superficial. And it's true. There are both men and women that are very superficial, but because women have been liberated and they have their own stuff nowadays, they have their own resources. They're working, making their own money, buying their own homes, their own cars, etc. And women don't need a man to provide anymore. They become extremely picky. So I honestly feel because of that statement alone and women being liberated alone, they become extremely picky. So I think it's women. But we'll talk more about that another time. It's just blatantly false, in my honest opinion. In my opinion, I mean, most men have higher standards than what people give them credit for on this forum. It's true. Most guys I know have standards when it comes to the type of women they want to get in relationships. Yeah, like me. She has to be reasonably attractive. Doesn't have to be perfect, but reasonably attractive and takes good care of herself. She's clean. She's proportionate, right? Has a good job. Is able to provide for herself. Is a sweet woman. Exudes more feminine energy than masculine energy. Stuff like that. Just having vagina is not enough to cut it. No, that's true. But for some guys that, for some guys that have no self-love, no self-respect, right? Typically because of the way they were raised, they'll take whatever they can get, right? And women can pick up on these insecurities of these guys. And even if they give these guys the time of day, they typically take advantage of them because the men just don't have a clue, right? None of these guys are Chads either. They are normal guys. Well, you could be a guy as good looking as a Chad, right? And just be a good dude. What if you were as good looking as a Chad, right? The stereotypical Chad name, right? For a guy, right? But you had a great personality and you were a good-hearted man. You're playful. You're fun. You respect your woman and you love your woman and you do things for your woman, but you don't overdo it to the point of where she disrespects you, right? I knew a guy my brother went to engineering school with who broke with his girl. Well, I didn't even say broke up. He left out a word. Broke up with his girlfriend because he didn't like the way her nipples looked in my Man, that's horrible. They all come in different shapes and sizes. Wow. I've known plenty of men who break up with women because they didn't meet their standards, whether physically or personality-wise. I even knew a guy who dumped his girlfriend because she stopped working. Well, you don't dump a woman just because she stops working, but you find out why she stopped working. Is she looking for another job? Does she have enough money in the bank to take care of herself while she's in between jobs? Or is she now dependent on you to support her? And if that's the case, is she with you for the right reasons, or is she just using you as the beta-mon provider? The beta-mon, 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 beta-mon. Personality is important. The woman has to be able to carry a conversation. I've talked with women that hardly talk, right? If a woman can't talk, it's not going to work. If a woman talks too much and dominates the conversation, it's not going to work. If you as a man dominate the conversation, it's not going to work. It has to be a constant flow of two-way communication. The relationship has to be 50-50 all around. Give and take from both sides, including communication, personality. The physical attractiveness has to be there mutually on both sides. And you don't sit there and judge a woman because, you know, her upper region, he didn't like the way her upper region looked. In my opinion, this subreddit is filled with guys who are the bottom barrel look-wise, and such they project their desperation onto all men. That's true. Any man that projects desperation or insecurities onto another man is looking at themselves as subpar to the people they're projecting upon. I've said that for many years, and that's the absolute truth, right? It's pathetic, right? And I've tried to help men like this, but what do? They keep on projecting onto me, right? Because rather than saying, hey, dude, I appreciate you. You're not trying to attack me. You care about me. You're trying to help me out. You know, what can I do to be as strong of a guy as you? They don't do that, right? And especially out here on YouTube, when you have these drama channels and you have dudes that are running channels like that, instead of them accepting help and becoming a better person and becoming stronger and more secure, they keep on projecting, because that also helps them create cringy drama content, which further, declines their masculinity, in my opinion. Maybe you are willing to date anyone as long as they have a vagina, but most men are not that desperate. That's not me. There are women that have wanted to go out with me and be intimate with me, but I can't even carry a conversation with them. I like to talk to a woman during intimacy, and if she's not able to talk outside of intimacy, what's she going to be, a dead fish when we're making love? Come on. Maybe when it comes to one-night stands, yes, men will lower their standards. I can understand that. But for a relationship, I can't. But when it comes to a relationship, right, I just said the same thing. In my experience, most men are as picky as women. Well, technically we are. And there's nothing wrong with being picky or knowing what you want and going out to attract what you want. But first of all, if you want to attract a certain type of woman, you at least have to come into the situation bringing in at least as much as she has to offer, because if not, if a woman has more to offer than you do, then why would she want to be with you, right? Right? In my opinion, what works the best nowadays, like it did with my ex Dana, is we both made similar money. We had similar resources, and we were attracted to each other, and we communicated well, and we enjoyed similar things. It was 50-50, right? I never tried to one-up her. She never tried to one-up me, right? That's the best way for it to work. But because of what's happening with women nowadays, women being liberated, right? Women being independent and not needing a man for survival, which was one of the main reasons why women would flock to men back in the days of traditionalism. Women are now able to be more picky if they choose to be. And most women nowadays have chosen to become extremely picky. Now, there are still some decent women out there that have old school values, right? But they're rare and hard to find. They're not impossible, but they're rare, right? People also underestimate how many desperate, ugly women are out there. But there are guys that are sleeping with them no matter what, because like this posting says, guys are just looking for any woman that walks, pretty much. They're so desperate for intimacy and sex and all that, because they devalue themselves, they don't love themselves, that they'll take any woman, no matter what she looks like or how she is. I knew overweight gas station attendant who was so desperate. I think you meant say I knew left out a word. Overweight gas station attendant who was so desperate for a relationship, she would let any guy who smiled at her hit it. Well, some women are like that, and that's an issue within them. They're insecure because of their weight or some other physical aspect, right? And rather than working on themselves, getting into better shape, and doing things that are going to turn that around physically for her, they settle for bottom of the barrel, whatever they can get, right? And that never works out. That never works out. You're going to have a bunch of men coming in and out of the door when you do that. And you might come across the wrong man that might be a psychopath, right? You're not going to attract good men when you approach it that way, just because you're insecure as a woman because you're overweight and you think you can't do anything about it, or you think you can't get a good guy just because you're overweight. There are many women out there here in the Bay Area that are overweight, but they dress nice, they smell good, and they attract decent men. Maybe they attract some men that are also overweight or a little overweight, right? Some of them attract men that are in shape. Some men like overweight women. You just never know. But if you go into it devaluing yourself at that level, then that's a problem within you. That's a problem within you, and you're never really going to get what you want. You have to value yourself first, male or female, right? Let's see here. Oops, that's the next one there. Let me check out the chat here real quick. Nothing happening over on Facebook and on YouTube. Queen is probably crying out of laughing with the crying out of laughter emoji because of the Betamon song. Was it the Betamon song? Was it the Betamon song? Queen, Betamon, 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 Betamon. Don't be a Betamon, okay? Don't be a Betamon. All right, let's check out some of the comments here. Men may be picky, but it's still easier to get sex if you're a woman, in my honest opinion. For some reason, I think I may have read this before. Have I actually read this before? I don't think I did. Female thirst, no, I haven't. Female thirst cannot be compared to male thirst. I know dudes that will see, look at the 4 stars there. Really bad looking women just to get it in. Yeah. You know what causes the male thirst? Let me read that again. Men may be picky, but it's still easier to get sex if you're a woman, in my opinion. It's true. Female thirst cannot be compared to male thirst. You know why? Because of the beta mons. When you have 97% of the men that are beta mons, that are conformists, right? Women have their pick of the litter. The beta mons, like I've always been saying, they're the ones that are ruining for everyone. We need to red pill all the beta mons and things will turn around. The moment the beta mons stop being beta mons, women will have far fewer options and things will become fair. I almost can't even blame women for this because it's up to you guys how you show up. You don't have to be a beta mon, right? It really disgusts me what some men will do and the great lengths they'll go through just to get a woman to talk with them or hang out with them. And they're also okay if they're not getting any sex. They just want the woman to hang out. When they actually do want sex, but if they don't get it, they don't complain about it. They're just compliant. Like, dude, come on, man. The incel perspective is true, but not for all men, of course. Most of the guys I know are better off than true incels, but they have slim chances of randomly getting into relationships, like how it happened before social media. If they are not motivated enough to make it a life priority, they will be lonely forever. These guys are a new phenomenon. The perspective here is not literally true, but it conveys the right picture. No, it is true, bro. It is true, man. You know, a lot of these guys are lazy, right? They don't want to get to know women. They don't want to talk to women. They just want women to just magically appear and they're in a relationship. The millennial generation, with no disrespect, it has, especially when it comes to men, has been the laziest generation in history. Laziness, right? And a lot of it has to do with how they were raised. A lot of it has to do with, women being liberated, and sexually liberated. When women became liberated, it became more norm for a woman to go out and just have random sex like guys have been doing for a while. And what would happen? They would get pregnant, right? And then more birth control options started to come into play. And some of those women got on birth control. Others stayed off it, and they would still get pregnant. And they would give birth to kids that didn't have a father and came from a broken relationship. And look how these guys turned out because of that. They're not being raised right. These guys don't know how to be men, right? They're very insecure. They don't love themselves. And they feel entitled. They have the entitlement attitude, right? And how attractive is that to a modern woman that's gone to college, gotten a degree, gotten a good job, making 6 figures, has her own house, her own car, and all that, and this guy has none of that? How attractive is that, right? To a woman, right? These guys can work on themselves and do something productive that's going to make them successful, so that way they can attract a good woman. It's all within them. They don't have to be incels if they don't want to be. They just have to do the work that it takes to be a good man. A good man is not lazy. A good man will work and fight to make something great for himself, which in turn will attract great people into his life, including women. No, this comment is awesome. As a non-virgin incel, I like how you say that, non-virgin incel, I totally agree with you. I could only get laid when I did everything for it. I don't see myself doing it again anytime soon. So in essence, dude, you're saying you can only get laid, you can only get with a woman to be intimate with a woman when you did everything for it, when you made effort, when you communicated with the woman, you got to know her, you talked with her. What do you guys want? You guys just want to go to a vending machine and put in a couple bucks, and then you have a woman that just appears at your beck and call and does everything you say? Like how real would that be? Part of intimacy being good is bonding and connecting with that woman and being able to connect on mental and emotional and spiritual levels and having similar interests. Then why are 80% of men sexless according to this sub? Well, that's not true. That's not true. That's just the guys in here that are projecting their insecurities, because rather than going out and bettering themselves to become an attractive man, right, and learning to better love themselves, they're in here just, dwelling in each other's sorrows together. Exaggeration much, 80% of men are rated below average, so they have to provide something besides themselves to get sex. Example, money. It's not just money. It's about confidence. It's about being able to carry a conversation with a woman. It's about making her feel like you can emotionally bond with her. It's about, it's about, first of all, loving yourself and putting yourself out there in a way to where, regardless of what happens, you're still happy within yourself. Women want to see a man that's happy regardless of what happens. They want to see a man that knows how to grab life by the horns and handle everything maturely, respectfully, with confidence, whether it's good or bad, right? Currently, the closest said to your point is that 30% of men are celibate. That could be a possibility. Or maybe it's not by choice. Maybe they're involuntary celibates. That's what an incel is. Okay, great. Then there's not a problem. Well, there is a problem, but you guys are misunderstanding the problem. If there were 30% more men than women, it would not be a problem, but there are 1% more men than women. 16% of women are also celibate. That's true. Some of them are reborn Christians. I've come across them on some dating sites, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just not going to work for me. If you had 30% unemployment, it would be a huge problem, but 30% inceldom is all right. Man, reading these forums here, like, I wish I had these forums growing up, man. We didn't have Reddit. The internet was around when I was, like, in my teens, right? But it wasn't at this level, right? If we had Reddit when I was younger, man, man, I would be the top poster. Unemployment is about available jobs, not employers choosing not to employ people because they don't want to. That's a great point. Good way to put it, man. And available jobs can disappear because employers no longer want or need or feel like they need to employ as many people. Example, automation. Automation has gotten rid of many jobs. Here in the Bay Area, we used to have, toll takers at the bridges for cash, right? And as they started automating it with what we call fast track out here, you folks back east call it easy pass, same thing, okay? We had fast track lanes and cash only lanes, right? And then about maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, the Golden Gate Bridge was the first bridge to go all cashless, meaning that you had to have fast track to cross the bridge. And if you didn't, you would go through and the high-speed cameras would take a picture of your license and they would mail you a bill, right? Well, the other bridges in the Bay Area, they went down to only 2 cash-only lanes, and the rest were fast track, right? And it wouldn't matter when you would cross these bridges. It could be at 2 in the morning, right? 2 in the morning on a Saturday, right? And the cash-only lanes would have like 20 people waiting, and it would literally take you like 10 minutes to get through the toll plaza, right? Well, what happened about a year ago, or a little less than a year ago? Every single bridge now is completely cashless. They've gone to automation. So, I ended up getting fast track 3, 4 years ago, because when I used to see my ex, Dana, I had to cross the Golden Gate Bridge to and from. And, they didn't take cash anymore, right? And now what happens is, if you don't have a fast track or you're from out of town, you cross through and it says fast track or bill by mail, right? They take a picture of your license plate with a high-speed camera, they run through the database, and then they mail you a bill, right? So that's what's happening. Everything is going automated. It really is. But we don't have to automate relationships or dating, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. Give women government incentives to F men, then I'm sure some women would be happy to accept that deal. How fun. Listen to these guys, man. I got to see if anyone sent anything in the chat right now. Okay? All right. Nobody's chatting right now, and this is a time where chatting would be good. Okay? So, listen to this. Give women government incentives to F men, to have sex with men. I'm sure some women would be happy to accept that deal. That's saying, dude, you want the government to pay women to sleep with us guys at our beck and call. That's pathetic, bro. And even if that was an option, how fun would that be? I don't want to be with a woman that the government pays to sleep with me because I am so insecure within myself that I'm not confident enough to talk with a woman, get to know her, and build a connection to the point of where we want to have sex naturally. This is pathetic at its finest. Wow. Look at what these guys are saying here. No wonder why women are destroying men nowadays. Guys, when you think like this, are you surprised that women are passing you up? Sure, whatever you make of it, I was just pointing out a viewpoint. That was a horrible viewpoint, dude. And you deleted your account because, look, it says deleted there, right? Because what you said, bro, was just pathetic. Having a problem with 30% of your population is no small thing, even if you don't personally care for ugly losers. Dude, you're projecting. Dude, this is a projection. This is pathetic, dude. I agree it's a problem. Being touch-starved and thinking of yourself as a loser is a great way to create a mass shooter. That's because you're holding in your emotions and you're not bettering yourself and you're devaluing yourself, dude. Why in the world would any woman want to be around with a guy that, is just a whiner, a complainer, is just a lost soul, right? Why would you want to be with a woman like that? Put yourself in the woman's shoes, okay? Put yourself in the woman's shoes. If a woman approached you behaving the same way you are, would you be attracted to her to want to be with her? Or I remember now, you guys just F anything that has a hole, right? Right. Well, getting bullied by society certainly isn't helping. Dude, you're a very insecure guy. Like you probably came from a broken household or something. Dude, the way you're looking at this, maybe you've gained a lot of weight. There's something happening within you, dude. And even if they don't become outwardly violent, I'm not sure the U.S. is equipped to deal with a mass wave of male suicide to the tune of over 10% of its young male population. Well, that's why I do what I do, and a lot of other content creators out on YouTube do what they do. We're catering a lot of our information to young men or men in general to get them to understand what's happening in the modern world when it comes to dating women, right? And we're also teaching you guys how to better yourselves. If you're overweight, lose the weight. We'll show you how to do it. Right? Get better clothing, get some cologne, build up your confidence to the point of where you love yourself first before you can love anything else. Right? It's all about these insecurities. They're deeply scarred and deeply rooted insecurities that stem back to the way you guys were raised. I'm sorry for your horrific upbringing, but you can turn that around. Make prostitution legal, I guess. Listen to how these guys are reacting. Paid unwanted sex equals unpaid unwanted sex. You're agreeing with me, right? I'm confused, LOL. Listen, I'm very well versed in all this, and I'm just confused about you guys, right? You guys, if I'm confused about you guys, imagine how you're coming off to women, right? Women would rather share a high-value guy, or women date older men. Women do typically date men 1 to 3 years above their own age. That is true. The women I've dated have been 5 to 7 years younger than me. The ones that have worked out. That's been consistent as I age. Women who are late 20s are likely to be dating men in their 30s who are excluded in that younger demographic. Every woman I've dated has always been at least a few years, up to 7 years younger than me. That's because women mature faster than men, biologically. I offer nothing, I get nothing. Fair is fair. That's a good way to look at it. I offer nothing, I get nothing. So if you want something, you have to build yourself up to be able to offer something. And that means a lot more than just money. It's more than just the money, guys. You guys are making this all about the money, and it's not all about the money. Some women are in it just for the money, but even to the women that are good, decent women that want something real, they're not going to give you the time of day if you're looking at yourselves and behaving this way. Really, so there is no group consensus among men about what constitutes as conventionally attractive when it comes to women now. These agreements are constantly shifting like the wind. That's that same dude. I see people here all the time saying, disparaging women over their weight and ethnicity, saying they are undesirable. But when it's convenient to your argument, suddenly everybody is loved and appreciated equally. Those guys are insecure and immature. I used to deal with them in the MGTOW community. There were guys in their 20s and 30s and even in their 40s and 50s and beyond that would despise guys like me for still wanting to date women and give good women a chance and still believing in relationships between men and women. Okay? Those guys, they have their own issues. And those are guys that if you listen to and you do as they say, you're going to further sink the opposite way of where you want to go. All right, I don't need to read any more, folks. If you want to go find out more about this, just go to the Purple Pill Debate subreddit and subscribe to that. Join the group, and you'll be able to read more. Now, let me go back to full screen here. I want to share a few more things before I take my next break, but I'm going to go to get to the next 3 Reddit postings because they're very good during the final segment here. Full screen, Eli, full screen. There we go. Queen says, no deal. Deleted is his screen name. I don't think so, Queen. I think he deleted his actual account and they still kept the posting there. Or maybe he just deleted his screen name. Deleted is his name. That might be the case, Queen. Maybe you're right. That's rather comical to have a username as deleted. That's super pathetic. That's beyond pathetic in my opinion. Wow. All right, folks, we are at 1 hour and 39 minutes, and the YouTube live streaming server has been beautiful lately. I love it. I love it. I want to share another story very briefly. I'm going to get through this as quickly as possible. I've shared it before in the past, but it's been a while. It's probably buried on some streams and videos I did years ago on this channel or my former channel that's no longer around. You know, when I was 40 years old, I met this really, really cute, attractive 34-year-old woman. She was a veterinarian. She probably still is. Very well educated. Wrote me a 3-paragraph response on Match.com. Took the time to get to know me. And I got back to her, asked her for her number. We had a great conversation. And we ended up meeting, fairly quickly around that time, shortly after that time. And the attraction was there. The attraction was there physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. This woman was very feminine. She, could carry a great conversation. She was open with her emotions. She had been through a lot. And she came from a family where the mother and father were there, but the mother and father, didn't have the best marriage, but they were still together, and she still got enough nurturing love. She turned out all right. Right? And, we dated for, I think it was about a year or so. And to make a long story short, she ended up cheating on me over the last month of the relationship. Now, I'm not going to get too far into detail regarding why it happened. I've shared it before. It's not that I don't want to share it. This show's going to be way too long if I go into that much detail. But when she cheated on me, it really, really hurt me. It hurt me really, really bad. And like I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, I went to my friends and family for support. And I'm not saying that they didn't support me at all, but all they kept on saying was, dude, you rush into things too fast, or dude, you do too much for women, or dude, this and that, blah, 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 right? Those are the last things that you want to hear when you're going through that. All you want to hear during that time is, hey, dude, it's going to be okay. I'm here for you. You want to talk about it, we can talk about it. We can go out for a beer. You just want to talk by phone, we can talk about it, man. I'm your buddy. I'm here for you. I'm going to help you get through this, and you're going to get through it quicker, and you're going to get back on that horse and find someone better, right? Like I said during the first part of the show, women are very supportive of each other when it comes to these things. The moment that something goes wrong with a woman that's part of a friend group, the rest of the women kick it into high gear, and they're there for her. They'll drop everything to support that woman. How come us as guys don't do the same thing for, other guys within our friendship? How much do guys really value their friendships, right? Right? I'll tell you, I would rather spend time with a woman on any given day than any one of my guy friends. I love my guy friends, and don't get me wrong, I have plenty of them. And I still see them every now and then, but I don't prioritize seeing them. Why? Because of what I've been saying. I can't talk with these guys about things I really want to talk about, right? None of them. They don't want to talk about it, right? They want to talk about sports. They want to talk about all these other things. And I love sports. Don't get me wrong. We can talk about that. But when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, which is one of the most important things that we should be talking about to support each other as men, they don't want to talk about it, right? So when I went through this breakup with this woman that cheated on me, that hurt me pretty badly, I didn't really have any support. So what did I do to get through it? As I've gotten older, at this point, I was 41, almost 42 or something like that, or right around there. This was about 5 years ago. I had enough experience. I had enough experience in life to not be as hurt as I was, when it happened the first time in high school, but it still hurt. I still needed to work through it. It still sucked. There were times where I felt like I even wanted her back just to feel better, even though she cheated on me. And I knew that wasn't the right thing, right? But that's how you feel when you're emotionally attached to someone, right? You got to remove the emotional attachment. So what did I do? Instead of, being a whiner and a complainer and going out there and doing a bunch of one-night stands and stuff like that, like a lot of guys do, right? Just to kind of get revenge on women in general. I went to YouTube and I wanted to find information regarding this. And I came across another coach named Coach Corey Wayne, who I respect to the fullest more than any other coach out on YouTube or in general, right? Another coach I respect as a close second is Coach Dan Bacon. Those are the only two coaches that, in my opinion, do it right. And they don't try to sell you. They do sell things and they offer their products, but they don't force you to buy anything. And they give you tremendous value for free within their videos, where to the point of where if you watch their videos over and over again and you're a competent, intuitive guy like myself, you can learn just from watching their videos. Now, I have purchased some of their programs out of respect, and I did learn more from their programs. But coming across Coach Corey Wayne, initially I didn't like the guy. When you first come across someone, you're not going to necessarily buy into them, right? Especially if you're going through something like I was going through, right? But after I watched one or two of his videos, YouTube started recommending me all of his videos. And then I started watching and I started listening, and I'm like, oh my God, this is me. This is happening exactly this way. And I thought I had learned enough by that point at age 42 from my other experiences on how to best handle, women, and how to give yourself the best chance to make something work, how to not be needy, all that stuff, right? Right? But after I started watching 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of Coach Corey Wayne's videos, and then I started binge watching hundreds of them each week in the background while I was working, right? It fired me up. I learned so much more. Even things I already knew, Coach Corey Wayne explained it in a much clearer way. And because of that, I wanted to do something similar to help people. In my younger days, even though my friends weren't supportive of me, I mean, they were, but even though they weren't supportive of me when it came to relationships, I was supportive of them. Whenever they would go through a breakup, or whenever they were having issues with something else, their computer or their family or whatever, they could always call me, and I would either talk with them on the phone until they feel better, or I would meet with them in person, take them to lunch or dinner, and talk with them until they feel better. I was very supportive. So because that's something I've always enjoyed doing, and after binge watching Coach Corey Wayne, after going through this, horrendous breakup where my ex cheated on me, okay, I realized that my purpose is to help people. And I wanted to start a coaching business just like Coach Corey Wayne. That's where I got the idea from. Even Coach Corey Wayne mentioned in one of his videos to a guy that was criticizing him, Coach Corey Wayne was saying, hey, if you want to start a channel and do what I do, get a camera and just do it, man. No problem. Like, I love how Coach Corey Wayne doesn't fear any competition. I feel the same way. So that's what lit the fire to do what I do today. And I've been doing this for 4 years now, folks. And I love what I do. And even though I'm not as big as Coach Corey Wayne, at least not yet, I'm still moving forward each and every day. This is my purpose. This is what I'm passionate about. Now, before I take the break, my next break, sorry. Give me a second here. Going back to my ex, the veterinarian, cheating on me and going through that breakup. As much as I don't condone cheating, I understand why she did it. It takes a very strong man to come to the realization of what I'm going to share with you right now. Cheating is wrong any way you look at it. But if you're a real strong man and you just got cheated on your by your woman, I can't even talk. You just got cheated on by your woman, right? There's a reason for that. And the reason typically is because you were lacking in one or many things that you weren't lacking initially when you first got with her, right? If I look back at that relationship now and how I showed up the first time I met her and how attractive she was to me and how great our intimacy was, right? And how I was in good shape, right? What happened 3, 4, 5 months into that relationship? We both stopped exercising. We both, we were working lots of hours. We were going to nice dinners. We were eating desserts. We both had gained some weight. I had gained like 20 to 25 pounds or something like that, maybe 30, something like that. Okay. She gained a little bit of weight too. Not as much as me, but she did gain some weight. She even said, if you keep feeding me this way, I'm not going to have a waistline anymore, right? And when that happened, my energy level went down. And I was dealing with some other things business-wise that was stressful. And when we would spend time together, she would want to have sex, and I wasn't in the mood. Partially because of, I had gained a little bit of weight. And I don't look horrible when I'm 20 or 30 pounds heavier, but there is a noticeable difference, and it does affect me from being as energetic in every aspect, including intimate, right? And she had gained, like, I'd say 10 or 15 pounds. And even though she didn't look extremely horrible, I wasn't as attracted to her to want to just be intimate with her all the time as I was initially. So I have to be fair here. I have to come out and say, you know what? Yeah, she cheated on me and it sucked and it hurt, right? But was it really her fault completely, right? She could have handled it better. She could have broken up with me before lining up a replacement with another guy and then, doing certain things that allowed me to find out that she was cheating on me so that way we could break up and move on and she could move on with this guy. But despite that, she did try to tell me. She did try. When I look back, she talked about her waistline. And I told her, yeah, I put on a few pounds myself. And, yeah, we need to go out and get some exercise and stuff. And she was basically trying to tell me in subtle ways that what was happening was beginning to not work for her. She was beginning to lose attraction. She warned women, when women are into you and they're emotionally attached, they're going to give you chances. They're going to give you subtle hints along the way to try to correct the issues. And after 2 or 3 times of them trying like she did, and I didn't get the hint, right? Then, boom, that's when, number one, she loses attraction for me, loses respect for me, falls out of love with me, lines up a replacement, and basically has sex with him. They start to sleep together on the side while she's still with me. And then when that relationship blossoms and matures, then she ends up, making it apparent. I found out she was cheating. I'm not going to share that story here. I've shared it before. It would just take way too much time. She made it easy for me to find out that they were cheating. So that way, it would be the start of the end of our relationship without her having to basically come out and bring it up first, right? It wasn't right for her to do it the way she did it, but I can understand why. I became complacent. I got so caught up into this, and my work at that point. I was doing some other things on the side, on top of running my insurance business back then. And I lost focus on myself. When I lost focus on myself, I lost it all. Before I go on the break, I want to share with you guys, when you lose focus on yourself or of yourself, you lose it all. When you lose focus of yourself, you lose it all. I can come out here today and be man enough and say that it was, for the most part, my fault why that relationship didn't work out. I learned from that. Yes, the cheating was not good, but I'm a strong enough man to understand why she did what she did. And I can even, I can even come out and say that if she's still with this guy or whatever happened between them, best of luck to her. I got no regrets looking back at it. It was a learning experience, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I also learned something else I can share with you folks that can help you if you're in these situations, or to prevent you from getting into these situations. All right. I'm going to step away and take one last break, and then we're going to go over the 3 remaining Reddit postings. One is looking for men's opinions on breakup. This was written by a woman. Why won't some men break up with their GFs despite being unhappy and know they can date other girls they openly flirt with? Interesting. And the final one is, do men actually move on from their exes after a breakup? 3 very, very, very good topics there. So, let me cue up some royalty-free YouTube music. Just shared your stream out to Lewis Fuller. Thank you so much, Lewis Fuller. Boop, boop, boop. What do I want to play here? Okay. Come on. All right, folks, music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for a break. It's probably going to last closer to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, and then we're going to get to those Reddit postings. So stick around. We'll be right back. Oh yeah, we're back. We're back. We are back. Feel it with me. Yeah, that feels good, doesn't it? Feels good. Yeah. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up, pump it up. Yeah. Woo-wee. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah, feel good. Yes. Shake it all about. Gotta love yourself. Gotta love yourself first before you can love anyone else. Or anyone else can love you. You gotta love yourself first before anyone else can love you or you can love anyone else. What part of that don't you understand? I want to drill that in your heads. That is the key right there. That is the key. I just gave you the keys. What are you going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? You tell me. Yeah. Yes. All right. All right. Welcome back to the third and final segment of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube and also simulcasting live on Facebook. Glad you could all join me here on this beautiful, amazing Sunday morning. We are doing this live stream and recording the replay on Sunday, July 11th, 2021. But this topic has evergreen value forever. So regardless of when you're watching this, if you watch this entire stream, if you're a man that's struggling with women, you're dealing with breakups, and you don't know how to handle it to move forward to get what you want, watch this entire stream from the very beginning. You can skip through the music breaks that I take when you're watching the replay, but make sure you watch and listen to every single aspect of it because it will change your life. I'm not asking you to like me. I'm not even asking you to believe in me. That's up to you. But I'm telling you, folks, if you listen to what I say, you hear my personal experiences, right? And you listen to, the situations clearly. And I guess I can come out and say, if you take my advice, it will work whether you like me or not. When you come across, people on social media nowadays that claim they can help you with something, I can understand there's a bit of skepticism, right? I'm the same way. It's a normal thing, right? All I'm saying is listen to the principles that I teach and apply them. And you're going to start to see a big shift in your life. That shift's not going to happen right away. It'll happen in little spurts. But then you get to the point of where you build so much confidence within yourself that you're going to be unstoppable. Then you're going to look back and say, that bald idiot Coach Eli guy really isn't that bad after all. It actually helped me change my life. What he said actually helped me change my life. Anyway, today we're discussing what men actually go through during a breakup, my experiences and more. What men actually go through during a breakup, my experiences and more. Go back and check out the replay if you missed the first two segments. I shared a lot of information. Now, during this third and final segment, did I say good morning? Queen, did I say good morning? It is afternoon now. My apologies if I said good morning. My apologies. It is actually 3:49 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 12:49 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I did start this show in the morning here, Queen. Time flies. Yes, it's afternoon. Sorry about that. My apologies. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I do. Well, let's get right to the browser source and get to these other three aspects on Reddit that I wanted to share with you folks here today. This one is from the subreddit relationship advice, relationship_advice. And this is a woman that wrote this, looking for men's opinions on breakup. I, 22 female, met a guy, 24 male, on Hinge in February. Everything was amazing until he blindsided me with a breakup. Wow. Well, men break up with women too. My last relationship was 3 years and ended September 2020. His last one was 2 years and ended September 2019. And he had talked to a girl from Hinge November through December 2020 until she randomly texted she wasn't interested. Number one, your issue is you're using Hinge for relationships where it's more known as a hookup site, kind of like Tinder. So there's the main issue in itself. Wow. Give me a second here. Okay. Interesting. I just got another phone number. You ask for the number on Match or on what do you call it, Bumble. And they're either going to give it to you or not. And if one doesn't give it to you, you got plenty others that will. Great day. Yeah, don't use Hinge or Tinder if you want something real. I mean, I'm not saying you can't find something real there. You can find something real anywhere. You can start off as friends with benefits and hookup, and it can turn into something real. But if you're looking for something real out of the gate, I would not use Hinge or Tinder. Come on. We went on a first date about a week after texting, and without even telling each other, we both deleted our Hinge accounts. What does it matter whether you delete it or not? Shouldn't even worry about that. And if you're only going on one date, why would you expect someone to delete their profile or hide it? Like, you're nothing yet. You're just going on a date. We started hanging out and going on dates a few times a week, talking every day, and I met all of his friends. That's a big mistake. You don't do that during the first week. I won't bring a woman around to meet friends, family for, I'd say, at least a couple of months. Maybe at least a month, month and a half, 2 months at the earliest, or at least until we become official. If it gets there, typically that happens within 2 to 3 months. 2.5 months is the average or so that the woman will ask, how do you feel about me, or where do you see this going, right? That's where she's trying to lock you down, which is her job. As a man, your job is to hang out, have fun, hook up, show her a good time. Right? That's it. He asked me to be his girlfriend officially in March. Big mistake. You don't ask the woman to be your girlfriend. You wait until she brings it up. It has to be her idea. Jesus, dude. You're trying to lock the woman down. That's not your job. That's not masculine energy. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat a second. Okay, we should be back. That's not masculine energy. Not. That shows desperation. You're trying to lock her down so no other guy on Hinge can get with her, right? How secure are you within yourself, sir? Lewis Fuller says we all make mistakes in the chat. Of course we do, Lewis. Not a big deal. It's all good. I might have said good morning when it's actually afternoon everywhere in the U.S. now, including on the West Coast where I'm at. He asked me to be his girlfriend officially in March. He is everything I have ever wanted. Oh, God. Well, ma'am, the first mistake here is that he asked you. He tried to lock you down. And that's not his job to do that. It's your job to lock him down, to try to lock him down when you're ready. Maybe he's a very attractive guy. Maybe you're sexually attracted to him. Maybe he has a lot of friends that you like hanging around with too. This is too soon, too quick. I have never been treated better or felt so connected to someone on every level. He's probably a good guy. He's probably a really nice guy, right? Or he's probably, talking to multiple women. And the woman he really wants to get with is making it, more of a challenge. And maybe you're just a good fill-in the meantime. That does happen. And I think that's what happened to you. I haven't read this, but let's see what happens. Some of these I read in advance, some I don't. We both agreed that while we've loved people before, we've never been in love like we are with each other. What is this, like the first few weeks or month? And you're in, come on. You could have some lust and be attracted to each other, but love doesn't happen like that. The only thing that took a lot of getting used to was he has 3 best girlfriends. That's the issue, man. That's the issue. His 3 best friends are girls. It's the same thing when women have guy friends, right? These are my guy friends, right? I have 3 best close guy friends, right? And they're all single, right? And they're just friends, right? Or they just want to be friends, right? No, they're the backup status men. And these are the backup status women. Nothing wrong with having opposite sex friends, right? But when you call them best friends and stuff like that, that's just odd. Like, guys have their friends that are guys, and women have their friends that are gals. And if you have a lot of opposite sex friends you call best friends, those are backup status people, right? That's the backup plan. In case this fails, I got something to go immediately to, right? Or maybe one of these women I'm trying to get with and it's taking her longer to come around. Maybe I feel more attraction for her and you're the fill-in the meantime. I have never been jealous, but I'm shy and he wanted me to be best friends with them too. And we were friendly on a surface level, but I know I didn't do the best job of getting deep with them. That's because, ma'am, you're feeling jealous, you're feeling insecure, which to a certain extent is normal for a woman, and you're feeling threatened. And I don't blame you. This dude sounds like he racks up these women in the friend zone, and then he has his choice of which one he wants to be with. Ma'am, he could be banging you and these other women at the same time. You never know. Who knows what's going on? He always told me they liked me and they've invited me out when he was out of town and had a good time. That would be weird for me to hang out with my boyfriend's 3 best girlfriends that he's best friends with. This guy's a work of art, man. This guy. On Friday, June 25th, everything was fine. The night before we hung out, ate Chipotle and had great sex. Great. Part of the thing is you're shy, man, which is cool. It's fine. So you probably don't speak up for yourself or stand up for yourself. You feel things that aren't right, but you don't want to say anything because you don't want to lose what you think you have. Well, it always plays out the way it's supposed to, man. So let's find out what happened. We were on FaceTime and got into a small thing because I mentioned plans for Sunday and he said he was busy all day. I said I was disappointed because he was going out of town for a week and I thought we'd spend the whole weekend together, but that we didn't talk about it, so I knew I didn't have the right to be upset. We ended the night kind of rocky, but not by any means fighting. Well, ma'am, here's the thing. What ended up happening to you was that you were realizing that something else was up. Maybe he was hanging out with another woman. And instead of calling him out on that, you just kind of let it go. You were kind of trying to talk about her. You were kind of trying to tell him, I really wish I could see you in this and that, right? And he's trying to tell you, I've got this business trip or whatever, right? When in actuality, he's probably hooking up with the woman he really wants to be with, right? The next morning, I didn't have a message, and that was weird. And then he didn't answer my FaceTime. Finally, he texted and said he didn't sleep well, and I asked why. Because he was getting his world rocked by another chick, by one of those 3 women. He was having the indoor Olympics, man, with somebody else. He said he's never had so much trouble sleeping and that he didn't think he's ready for what I'm ready for. No, ma'am. He is ready for it, just not with you. The other woman that he wanted it more with finally panned out and is progressing, and now he's trying to let you down easy without telling you the truth. See, if this guy was going to do that, he shouldn't be friends with all these women, and women are going to talk and they're going to figure out what's going on. It's like, if this is the way you want to play it, you got to do it a little bit more subtly. Wow. I called him and he wouldn't say much except that he was thinking, and I had to ask a bunch of times if he wanted to break up, and finally he said yes. I asked if he could think about it longer because if it just came to his mind last night, maybe he was being irrational, and he said he never thought about it all night and he was sure. Well, no, he wasn't thinking about it all night. He was getting his rocks off with another chick. I think you know that, ma'am. I think you know, ma'am, that you are a fill-in. That happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. He wouldn't meet me in person to talk either. That's because there's nothing there. He never felt it for you in the way you felt it for him. He enjoyed your company as a fill-in until the woman he wanted to be with panned out. Some women take longer to come around. Now, I would never, play someone, like you in this way. You sound like a very good woman. And if you came into my life, ma'am, a woman like you, and I was attracted to you, I would give you a chance, and I would cherish the type of person you are. I think you sound great. It's just for him, he had his eyes on somebody else, and you were a fill-in. For him, you were at the right place at the right time, and you were at the wrong place at the wrong time. I have never gotten the sense anything was wrong or that we weren't on the same page about feelings, because if it didn't work out with her, you were the next best option. Now, I can tell you something, what will probably happen. If he tries to work it out with this woman and it doesn't work out and she leaves him or something, he's going to come back to you and he's going to miss what he had with you. And at that point, ma'am, if you have any spine, you wouldn't give him a second chance because he already blew it. He chose someone else over you. And now he's coming back to you because now you're just the next best option. I went crazy, obviously, and blew up his phone and bawled my eyes out all day Saturday. He said we could talk when he got back from his trip, but that he needed to be alone. I would think he just wanted to cheat on the trip, but it was literally to South Dakota at his girlfriend's parents' cabin in the middle of nowhere, and it's a mix of his closest friends since they all just graduated and won't be living in the same city apartment building. The girls also have boyfriends. It doesn't mean anything, man. Just because they have boyfriends doesn't mean they're all not playing the field or cheating or, having fun. Sounds like you're a good person. You're a good woman with a high level. Sorry. It sounds like you're a good woman with a high level of integrity, and all these people have low integrity. Doesn't mean they're bad people per se. They just have low integrity when it comes to dating. Before he left, we planned to meet July 7th. I tried not to text him, and then July 3rd, he said, I don't want to talk when I get back. I'm sorry. And he said he just genuinely wasn't ready. No, he just didn't want to be with you. He's ready, but not with you. That's the bottom line. It's all BS. This dude is giving you the same BS lines that women give men when they don't want to be with them. I'm just not ready. It's not you. It's me. Bullshit. Come on. Come on. I kind of blew up his phone again on Monday for like an hour, but haven't texted him since, and he hasn't reached out at all. Well, he's probably blocked you, man, or ghosted you now. He's making me feel like I'm crazy, but he messaged me on Hinge first. He asked me on the first date. He asked me to be his girlfriend. He said I love you first, and the best part, he leased an apartment starting at the end of July that I can see from my apartment. He told you everything he needed to tell you to get you to feel comfortable to have sex with him and hang out with him in the meantime, ma'am. Had he not done it that way, you wouldn't have even slept with him or kissed him or talked with him. He played you, ma'am, like a fiddle. I hope you learned your lesson. We've all been through that. So I'm guessing that there's something missing here, either because he's not telling you or you didn't notice. Him hiding something is definitely a possibility, but by definition, I can't figure it out from just your side of the story. I just told you what happened. He had his eyes on somebody else, and while it was panning out, he was with her as a fill-in. One thing that she wrote sticks out to me. He said he's never had so much trouble sleeping and that he didn't think he's ready for what I'm ready for. Sounds like he thinks you want to push things to the next level and he's not ready. Are you guys talking about getting engaged or moving in together? Are you spending more time with him and he feels like he's losing his friends? Are you encouraging him to not hang out with his female friends? Does he need some space that you weren't giving him? Not accusing you of anything. This is just stuff I can think of from reading your post, and I don't have his side, so it could be something else entirely. You missed the entire boat. He was with another woman at the same time, or trying to get with another woman at the same time, and it finally panned out. She finally decided to meet him, and they probably got together, and the sex was electric, and their connection just felt better to him than the one with her. Don't be naive. I can't believe you think it's old. Sounds like he thinks you want to push things to the next level and he's not ready. Well, if you really are into somebody, why wouldn't you want to push things to the next level? Are you guys talking about getting engaged or moving in together? You see, this woman should have realized this dude's moving way too fast and just trying to tell her everything she wants to hear to get a temporary piece of ass and have temporary company until what he really wants pans out. He's got you all fooled. The only thing we had talked about would be moving in together in over a year when our leases are up. I never ever asked him not to hang out with them, even if I wasn't included. I believe that. It has nothing to do with anything she did. It has to do with what he wanted. Okay, I honestly don't know. These are just some points in your write-up that I thought might be worth questioning. Again, I've got less than half the story here, so it's very possible his behavior has nothing to do with anything you wrote about. You got the full story. You're just not putting two and two together. The dude is banging another woman or was interested in another woman. She was the fill-in. Man, these people are, no wonder why these people, no wonder why they just don't get what they want or they give up. These people don't have a clue. Let's read this one here. My gut instinct, he was super interested and an old flame flared up. I wouldn't call it an old flame. I'd call it another flame he was trying to get with that he was more attracted to. If that's the case, you didn't get dumped for any lack on your part or for any kind of comparison to someone else. This smells like a guy who's been holding a torch for someone he already knew, getting the chance to finally light it. Dude, bravo. Bravo. Shorzy PhD, I'm going to give you a big round of applause for that. You get it, bro. There was someone else in the picture that hadn't panned out yet, and it started to pan out. That's called backup status. Guys do it too. Not as much as women, but guys do it too. Let me read one more here because it's just going to be the same old thing. I think it's best to read it at face value and not get too hung up on the what ifs. I agree. For whatever reason he doesn't want to commit to you, he may feel that something isn't quite what he's looking for, and so he's second guessing. It's not a reflection on you at all. It's just unfortunate that he's just not feeling it and that it all came so suddenly. It's not that he's not attracted to the woman he was with at all. There are different levels of attraction. You can be with a woman that's a level 5 or 6 on the attraction scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, right? Or maybe even a 7, right? But then a woman comes around and makes you feel like a 9 or a 10 level of attraction. And her communication style is different. This woman's a bit shy. Maybe the woman that he was trying to get with is maybe a little more physically attractive, but more importantly, maybe she's more exciting. Her personality is not as shy. It's more outgoing. It's open. You folks are just not, you're not looking into this as deeply as you should. And you're not looking at it the right way, right? It's quite obvious. Attraction is a must, not a choice. People, both men and women, are looking to try to find the most physically attractive person that also resonates with them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's the bottom line. It's the bottom line. Now, at some point, do I feel you have to settle? Because is there always going to be someone better out there? Sure. At some point, you have to say, look, I love this woman. I enjoy her company. I've been with her for 5 years. We bonded. I want to grow old with someone. I don't want to chase women. I don't want to do this, right? And even if someone better comes along 5 years down the road, you're so emotionally invested and you feel so happy together that nothing's going to tear you apart. At some point, you got to get to that point. At this point, early on, you're not there. You're not there after a week or 2 or a month, or even you may not even be there, after a month or 2. It may take 6 months or a year. Now, if this had gone on longer, like 6 months or a year, okay, that's a different story. But this didn't last that long, and this dude told you everything you want to hear just to try to, get with you temporarily until he, gets what he wants, or until the other woman that he was more interested in pans out and starts giving in to him, right? All right. Let's get to the next one here. Let me check out the chat here real quick. Give me a second here. Been there, done that, says Queen. She should have asked who is the other woman. Yep. All right. Nothing happening on Facebook today. That's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Why won't some men break up with their GFs despite being unhappy and know they can date other girls they openly flirt with? That was a question posed, nothing more written. Let's look at the comments. Stability, I guess, but we don't know. We could date the girls we flirt with. I'm a flirty guy in general, but that doesn't mean I want to date all the girls I flirt with either. It's just my personality. Attraction is a must and not a choice. If you're not fully attracted to the person physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, it's not going to go the distance. It could be something temporary. It could be fun. It's fun to flirt with people. It's just fun it's fun for guys to mess with women and fun for women to mess with guys to a certain extent. It's all part of the dating process. This is the best answer. I just left a 5-year relationship. The last 3 were suboptimal. But by that point, I was comfortable and mostly stable, so I kept pushing through until I decided it was enough. I knew it would be difficult to find someone else, but I figured I'd rather be unhappy alone than miserable with someone. Beautiful. I figured I'd rather be happy. I can't even say this. Let's try it again. I figured I'd rather be unhappy alone than miserable with someone. Well, you don't have to be unhappy alone. You could be happy or happier alone than, being with someone that makes you miserable. I get what you're saying. I agree. Yeah, I see some guys like the one I'm referring to in my post with their GFs, and I know they're miserable, but probably not to the point of abandon. Should I just wait it out? If you're not feeling it completely for that person, if you have any hesitation, if you're not feeling the attraction, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, you got to talk with them about it. And depending on how they react to that conversation, you're either going to start to feel it again and you both are going to feel it, or that's where you have to draw the line and move on and end it. Attraction is a must, not a choice. He sounds like a terrible BF. No, it's just dating. You folks have to understand. When you're dating someone for, the first couple of months or so, if you're with them, right? You're getting to know each other. You're learning about each other's quirks, and you're learning about, what you like and don't like and all that stuff. It takes time. Now, you can speed up the process if you better qualify your prospects. Especially if you're using online dating, you can talk on the phone. You can ask questions. Find out what they like to do. Do you like the hike? If a woman that I'm getting to know doesn't like the hike, that eliminates her, right? I love hiking. You got to love to hike, right? I've talked to a few women that don't like hiking. I'm sorry, it's not going to work out for me. I like to go hiking on the weekends. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things I enjoy doing the most with my partner. I like taking romantic weekend getaway trips, going to nice restaurants, touring the town we're in, but also getting into nature, getting some exercise while we're there so we stay healthy and fit, breathe in the fresh air, and just really, just really, what I'm trying to say is that I love hiking, and if they don't like hiking, it's just not going to work. You got to be direct, and you got to ask questions, and you got to do a better job of pre-qualifying the person you're getting to know. Okay? This guy I like who's been in a long-term relationship is extremely flirty with me and basically IG stalks me, Instagram stalks me. Well, if he's stalking you on Instagram, ma'am, that's a big turnoff. He's probably just a very, very good-looking guy, and you're attracted to him physically. Watches my stories. We see each other at art functions, and he always is stuck to me and approaches me and even gives me comfort and empathy. He sounds like a beta man to me. Well, maybe not a complete beta man, but it sounds like to me he's trying too hard, right? There are those guys out there that really aren't beta, but will look for very vulnerable women that, there are some women out there that still like a guy to chase them a little bit. And if a guy can identify you as one of those women, especially if you're shy and you're vulnerable and you don't have a lot of experience, and they can exploit that and get some sex from you or something else, they're going to do that. You got to be very careful when it comes to that. But hey, the first time it happens, it's almost impossible to understand it because you have zero experience. But that's what's happening here. If he's willing to flirt and emotionally cheat on his current girlfriend, what makes you think he'll be any different if he left his GF for you? Find someone who is an enthusiastic yes, not someone who's already in a relationship with you, hoping. Right, your backup status at best. That's all it is. If I'm talking to 4 or 5 women on online dating and getting to know them, the one that's going to stand out, the one I'm going to pay the most attention to is the one that's the most enthusiastic about wanting to get to know me. I can tell she's excited. She's attracted to me. She may be flirting with me a little bit, especially if she's, talked about if she's open to discussing intimacy and being open to receiving love and she's cool about that. And I can tell she's not going to make it difficult for me to progress something happening if we meet, then I'm going to put her at the top of the list. You want to be with someone and hang around people that are enthusiastic, that are excited, and can't wait to see you or see you the next time as well. All right. That's enough of that one right there. Let's go to the final one before we wrap things up here. We are at 2 hours and 42 minutes. We'll be wrapping this up in about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. Do men actually move on from their exes after a breakup, or do they simply start seeing other people despite not being over their ex? I, 23 female, feel like I've dated around quite a bit. I don't blame you. A lot of people do that. And many men bring up their exes. it is clear they're hurt from the breakup, and it makes me feel kind of like they want me as a placeholder or a rebound. I'm overthinking. In some cases, that may be it. In other cases, sometimes when I talk about my exes, because a lot of people are curious to know, why did your last relationship end, right? That's a common question women ask me, right? And they ask that because they want to see how you respond. Because if the way that your last relationship ended was bad, they're less likely to give you a chance because they're thinking it may happen to them. They're testing you. It's a test. That's all it is, right? But in some cases, you could be a placeholder or a rebound. In other cases, they may be a secure, confident guy that is just open-minded and says, my ex and I broke up 2.5 years ago. I got nothing bad to say about her. It just didn't work out. Sometimes relationships run their course. One of the best answers you can give a woman is the relationship ran its course. If you go and say, oh, we used to fight all the time, we used to, call each other names, you're basically ruining the mood, and you're basically conveying to her that there's a possibility that could happen if she gets in a relationship with you. So despite what happened, things happen, folks. We're human, right? The best way to respond to that would be, I have nothing bad to say about my ex or any of my exes. My former relationships just ran their course. It just wasn't meant to be at the end of the day. But you know what? I learned from those relationships, and I feel I'm even in a better place now for the next wonderful woman that comes into my life. Great answer. It's the best way to do it. Just a theory. Our approach to masculinity and the ideal image of a man is one of strength and invulnerability. Well, if you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable as a man, you're never going to really bond with a woman. But that's the stigma. I get it. As a result, it is very difficult for men to open themselves emotionally because of the stigma, or maybe because of the way they were raised. And that's what I've shared here today. Go back and check out the first part of the show when I was talking about emotions are important for a man to shed at times. Even too close friends. Right. That's the problem. Even your closest friends, when you need emotional support, they don't want to give it to you because of the same stigma just mentioned here. When it comes to relationships, may be one of only a few people a man will truly open up to and show vulnerability. An act often seen as unmasculine, which is absurd, but sadly still true. That's a stigma. It's a stereotype. An act often seen as unmasculine, which is showing vulnerability, right? Which is absurd, but sadly still true. I'm here to tell you guys, there's nothing wrong with allowing yourself to be vulnerable at times. And there's also nothing wrong with showing some emotion at times. I just got my bandwidth. I have a bandwidth meter I use called DU meter, download upload meter. It shows me my bandwidth as I'm streaming, and it also tells me how much data I use each month. And already after 11 days, I've used 600 gigabytes of my fiber line. I stream to Facebook and YouTube pretty much every day. Incoming traffic, 40.9 gigabytes. Outgoing traffic, upload, 559.6 gigabytes. High quality. Well, thank you for the update, DU meter. Just a few more here, then we're going to wrap it up. It could also be a reason why they speak with the next woman they date about their exes, because it is how they have been conditioned to deal with their emotions, i.e. speak to your girlfriend about it. Sometimes they're not over their ex. Sometimes it's just a conversation piece. So you can't automatically assume a guy's talking about their ex because they're not over her, right? But sometimes that is the case. If you're a woman, look to see how often he talks about his ex. If he talks about his ex multiple times every time you see each other, that's a problem. If occasionally you're discussing something, let's just say you're on a weekend getaway with a woman, and on the way to your destination on the freeway, you see a place that you have been to with an ex. Oh, and you can say to your current girlfriend, "Oh, check! I've been to that place before. I took an ex there, in the past, and it's a pretty fun place. We should check it out sometime, right?" Now, some women will come out and say, "Well, you've been there with an ex. It may not be as special, right?" No, it'll be more special with you if we go, "Babe, because I'm no longer with her, and I'm with you, and I love you, and I care about you." I was just sharing that, hey, I'd been there before, and I'd been there with my ex, and that's all. And you can end that conversation right there. And most decent women wouldn't even really question that because they're just happy to be with you. And they know that, hey, you had exes, you've been to other places. When you're driving to places and you see places you've been to, it's going to bring back some memories. And there's nothing wrong about reminiscing good times from the past, even with exes. As long as it's not the complete primary focus all the time, every time you're with your current person. Why would you tell everyone I told you that in confidence? Nowadays, folks, you have to live your life as nothing being a secret. Don't tell anyone anything you wouldn't want everyone to know. If you're on YouTube, don't talk with anyone behind the scenes or, share information with anyone that you don't want the whole world to know. A lot of people will share provocative photos amongst each other behind the scenes saying, "Hey, let me see yours, I'll show you mine, but just don't ever let this go anywhere," right? And what happens when they have a falling out 2-3 months later? It's front page news. All right, folks. We're going to cut it off right there. This was a great show. I really enjoyed doing it. It's the only show I'm going to do today. I have a bunch of other things to do. And I'm in a phenomenal mood today. Got some great rest last night. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Lewis, I'll be contacting you tomorrow morning. Just contact me early in the morning, and I'll get back to you as soon as I'm ready to talk. It shouldn't take that long. But, there you have it, folks. What men actually go through what men actually go through during a breakup, my experiences, and more. My phone is just going off the hook with texts from different women. When you're cool, calm, and collective, you know your worth, you know who you are. Okay? You don't have to, as a guy, go out there and chase women. Of course, you have to make initial contact. But if they're really into you, if you make a good first impression the right way, but by just being you and being secure within yourself and being direct and decisive and honest, they'll chase you. With that being said, have yourselves a great day. I'll see you all next time. Whoops, let's go back to full screen before we do that. I keep forgetting that. We'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.